Isn't there something cool and almost mystical about a clear, translucent action figure? Well, it's no wonder, and this has caught the attention of one of my subscribers, Josh Emery, who asked, what's the deal with these figures? What's the deal with ghost figures? I mean, not like that, or even this. I mean, by a ghost figure, I mean, ones that use clear plastic. Well, actually, not quite this either. Though this is close, we're getting closer. All right, what I mean is the example on the right, or at least that's what Josh is asking about. He wanted to know, what is the allure? Why the popularity of clear figures? And not like that middle figure there, that's half clear. This figure is kind of just an artistic take. What we're really talking about are figures that use translucent plastic, and this can be used to represent different types of characters. In this case, the translucent plastic here is Jedi ghosts, or spirit Jedi, however the Chinese government wants to classify them, trying to replicate this, not this scene, this one. Sorry, I will not accept Hayden Christensen's ghost, even with Ahsoka. All right, moving forward. So yes, ghosts are one thing. They can also be holograms, which sometimes can actually be done with figures that aren't even all the way clear, such as in the 80s we had a great hologram line. Actually, we had several of them that were very collectible, like the Supernaturals. All right, so we've got holograms, and by that, as opposed to Supernaturals, again, using Star Wars as the example, we're talking about characters that are clear all the way through and through. And a lot of times they don't have articulation. Sometimes, but a lot of times these wind up being what are called slug figures, or minimally articulated figures. We've even had hologram figures as accessories. And again, picking on Star Wars, but, it's a good, ripe example. And, we've had hologram Leia come with figures as an accessory, not the figure. Now, Star Wars isn't the only brand that does clear translucent figures, and holograms and ghosts are not the only application. For example, Stealth Venom here is representing Venom when he goes invisible. Although this was an interesting, actually, take because they kept some of the deco on the mouth. They changed that in a running change and made it more like this Invisible Woman figure that's completely clear. So yes, clear translucent figures can also be used to represent invisibility. So there we've got ghosts, we've got holograms, we've got invisible characters, but we are not done yet. There's even toy lines where the clear nature of the character was the full reason for being, such as the Crystal Warriors from the 1980s. This was a toy line with figures, vehicles, and beasts, etc., that were all made out of clear iridescent plastic. It was actually created by Frank Miller, yes, that Frank Miller, and was quite a popular toy line in the 80s. It was one I was actually hoping would be able to come back in kind of like a, Super 7 Ultimates or, Matty Collector kind of style. But that's neither here nor there. The point is the translucent nature was the unique feature of the line, with major characters and beasts being made in all clear. All right, so going back to the original letter started off this video, what is the appeal? Well, one is they're very inexpensive to do. So obviously for toy companies, a clear iridescent figure has an advantage for them from a bottom line standpoint. Now, obviously with costs going up, companies are always looking for different ways, like reducing deco, and what figure has the least amount of deco of all? Well, a clear iridescent figure. So yes, companies save a lot by not decoing a figure. And anytime you can do this, even if it's just partial deco, like this Vision figure that had a spray over, or is cast actually in different colors. So parts of the body are cast in translucent green, while others in translucent white. Other times, translucent figures can be given armor in order to add some other color besides just looking like a blob of orange, if you will, in the package. Now, one thing about these figures being less expensive, it doesn't mean that the material, the plastic, is cheaper. This was not infinitely. Infamy, that's the word I'm looking for. This went down in infamy with the Green Goddess figure, or rather just Goddess figure from Motu Classics. She had a problem where the figure broke, and a lot of people thought this was because of the translucent plastic she was made of, saying that it was cheap. But no, that's not true at all. It was because the sonic welder that was used on this figure, as well as the bulk of DCU Classics Wave 2 through 4, was misaligned and was causing cracks, microscopic cracks in the plastic. So this is kind of one of those things I feel like I've been talking about for 20 years, trying to explain that clear plastic is not, cheap. It's like I'm blue in the face already talking about this. It was a sonic welder issue. So yes, all right. So that's why it's good for toy companies. But what about for consumers? What's the wow factor? Well, for kids, really, we're talking about bright light. I mean, let's be, frank here. Frank Miller, who created the Crystal Warriors. Hey, said that twice in this video. Kids like light-up toys. It's no wonder that you see so many toys, especially preschool and toddler toys, that feature lights and sometimes sounds. But yes, light up is very alluring for children, and it represents exploration, it represents conquest, and the older you get, the more you understand light and energy can also represent power. And when you see characters in movies that light up when they use their power or have weapons that light up, well, this turns light into a physical energy force that while this doesn't actually exist in the real world, there's no actual Iron Man blasting out energy, well, there's something else, though. There's something else about it. Treasure. Besides the fact that these figures look like they're full of energy, well, clear iridescent characters are very similar to a child's perception of sort of jewels, if you will, like rubies and emeralds. Not like jewelry that mom wears, but, like play fantasy jewels. And it makes the figures feel like they are extremely valuable. Clear figures to kids, even though they're less expensive to make, are sometimes their most loved figures that they have the most possession of because they look valuable. They look like they're made of precious stones. And that's a huge reason why there's an appeal to kids. So, besides being less expensive for toy companies and the ability to replicate things like holograms, ghosts, and invisibility, translucent figures keep going. I hope you enjoyed this video, and it was a good look, and I hope I answered the judge's question. So thanks for watching, and feel free to share this video with other people. It's the best way to show support for this channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.